Hey guys, how are you? It is Friday, but I'm going to make this video and then post it on Monday. I'm in my kitchen. I did leave early for my own kids' remote learning, so I'm sorry I didn't see you at the end of the day on Friday, cohort B, but you'll see me on Monday. So I was just watching my own son sit across from me, and he was doing his own breakout rooms with a writing partner, and the sixth grade was doing it with Miss Caldwell this week at the Kennedy, and I'm thinking we should try and revise our stories that way next week. So the bacon is for somebody that really wanted bacon in the slideshow. So the idea is that we're thinking about our dialogue. So at this point, you've gotten to a place where you feel like, okay, this is my draft. And now we shift from drafting to revising today. Okay. So if you're not done with your draft, you obviously can't shift, but either way, we're going to talk a little bit about this next step. Okay. So this next step is the idea that the dialogue is kind of turning on the lights. So today, I want to teach you that you need to be sure that you turn on the lights in your stories by grounding your characters in their scenes. So writers make sure to show characters' actions as well as the place and time so that their readers don't have this disoriented feeling like, oh my gosh, where am I? What's going on here? And the characters are kind of just floating around, and the dialogue needs to have what we call some kind of context, okay? Yes, I did the flip for some of you because you like the effects, so kept it kind of simple. So when you're, sometimes as writers, we almost get too caught up in the dialogue, and we forget that it can be moving the story forward. So you forget everything else as you make up the scene, and the thing that keeps the reader, that the things that keep the reader grounded and knowing what is happening is sometimes lost. So I'm going to give you an example. This is from the book. This isn't really from my class, but this is Nick's dialogue. And he says about his characters, I was embarrassed. I didn't know what to say. Just apologize, she said. I'm sorry. I said, you're forgiven. Let's go get a slice. Oh, sorry. There's a quotation error. I'll go fix that. Okay. But this dialogue, while good, doesn't really have much of a context. Okay. Just don't whistle. Keep walking. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I'm doing a video. So you just have to, thank you. That was Owen. You can say hi if you want, but the problem was that Nick didn't actually know what his characters were doing. He expected that these things would be like fillers to his story, but it didn't hold up. So really to hold up the talk, but the actions ended up revealing the real story in a very important way. Okay. So next, here is his revision. And he says about this, what's up? You need something? I'm taping, so you can say hello to them, but then you need to move on. There you go. Okay. So this is his revised dialogue that I'm just reading from here because it's just easier to read from here. Okay. So he says, I was so embarrassed. I didn't know what to say. I kicked a pile of leaves that had gathered at the base of one of the trees on Bergen Street. My face felt like it was so hot it would melt. A breeze whooshed and leaves danced on the sidewalk. Just apologize, she said. She pulled her collar tighter and buttoned the top button. I snuck a glance at her face. She was biting her bottom lip. I knew it was hard for her to ask for an apology. An acorn fell off the tree and ricocheted off a car parked on the corner. The smell of tomato sauce and garlic wafted in the cool late October air. Ooh, kind of like right now. My stomach growled. I snuck another peek at her, and now she was stomping every leaf on the sidewalk, moving intentionally to them and then crushing them under her boots as she walked. My heart pounded. What if I apologized and she didn't forgive? What if I didn't and she never spoke to me again? I'm sorry, I said. She turned her head and smiled. You're forgiven. Let's go get a slice, she said. She pointed to the pizza shop 2 doors down. I raced ahead, stomach still growling, so I could hold the door. So obviously those characters have way more of a context where you understand they're talking this about the same amount, and yet they're very much heavily embedded in their environment as they are using that dialogue. So now we understand sort of the tension of the scene around the apology. Okay. So this is Nick's impressive revision of his own work. So we can let the dialogue speak for the characters, and yet we always have to give them a context in which they're speaking. Otherwise, they're just sort of floating in air, and we don't know how the story is moving forward. Okay? So writers, do you see how the characters are not sort of in the dark anymore? All this drama came out in the story simply because Nick decided that he needed to get his characters out of the dark and to rewrite the story showing the characters that they moved and interacted within the setting. Okay, so if you're picturing that in your mind's eye in your story, you need to somehow get it into the words of your story. Okay, so today is that shift from drafting to revising, and a couple of you have talked to me about this because you do see this as a more sort of intertwined process. Students have been like, well, can I just draft while I edit, and vice versa? But we've had these discussions, so I am listening. Oh, first of all, before I go to these 5 steps, I have to give you all a compliment. I've been working my way through your virtual notebooks. I've just been looking. I haven't really commented unless we were having a specific conversation where I was like, I'm going into your document, and you were okay with that. I really didn't write in your notebook, but I'm looking in them. And I have to tell you, I'm so impressed. I was telling 2 groups. I only told like 15 kids this when you think about it, because it was only half of 2 groups of cohort B. And so I had this science teacher, Mr. Banks, he taught chemistry. And he had this bumper sticker on this one part of the chemistry lab. It's called the fume hood, which is where you like did experiments, and it wouldn't be like, the flame or something would waft up, and then it wouldn't like, be all smelly. Like you wouldn't like inhale these like toxic fumes, So there's this bumper sticker, and it said, do it in the fume hood. And I was thinking about what I've been doing with all of you the last 3 weeks, and I've been like, get it in the notebook. And I feel like if we had like a t-shirt for like, ELA 2020, 2021, the theme of it would be get it in the notebook. And you did, and I really appreciate it. So every single notebook that I've looked at in groups A, B, and C, no matter what cohort you were in, I had no trouble finding your narrative on demand because you clearly labeled and dated it, and I could find it, and many of you thought of a really inventive title for it. So that is so excellent. So again, keep getting everything in the notebook, keep labeling and dating it, keep making it clear what I'm looking for. As time goes on, some of you are very good at headers, and so we can do that and essentially create a table of contents. But right now, the important thing is you're getting it in the notebook. I'm so impressed. Keep doing that. Good job. So with our story, this is your shift from drafting to revising. So today, you're going to take one more look at your story and ask yourself these questions. And then tomorrow, we will find a way to get you into these breakout rooms. I got to think about it. Today's Friday. By Monday, I'm going to have an idea as to how these breakout rooms are going to work and how you are going to revise while you are remote, okay? You might want to just make a comment and let me know whether or not, you can make a comment in the assignment, or you can send me an email and be like, yes, I would be willing to log in at my class time, on Tuesday or on Thursday. And that might help me decide the best way, because one option is you're making breakout rooms with someone else who's remote. Another option is someone's in school and they're logging in and they're in a breakout room with you. So I got to think about it. I'll have a solution. I promise. Anyway, here we go. So Monday, today, you're watching this slideshow and you're looking at your document and you're asking yourself some of these questions. So you're looking at your document with a more what we call specific lens. So number 1, reread your draft with a more specific lens, meaning, did I capture these things, right? Do my characters feel real? Am I leaving my readers in the dark anywhere? Are there places where my reader might feel disoriented, like not understand exactly where they are? I've shifted scenes in my head, but I haven't shifted scenes on the page, perhaps. Is the dialogue embedded in the setting, right? Number 4, are there places I did that one. And then finally, number 5, don't be afraid to have these revisions and corrections take on a life of their own and allow the story to shift. So sorry, my video is covering up this last part of the slide. Be prepared to be surprised and to capture all the new, I think that's stories, my writer friends. So actually, let me see what it is. So that is what I have for today, Monday, October what, 26th? I think so. Cohort A, if you see this, please don't forget that tomorrow is picture day, right? Cohort B, your picture day is, I believe, Thursday. And I did talk to Mr. Well, I mentioned the Halloween costume thing to Miss Tanner, but I'm not exactly sure when they're going to allow you guys to dress up. But it's interesting to me that our story takes place in late October, and here we are in late October. Maybe some of your stories take place in late October. I don't know. So I think that's all I have for today. Reach out with any questions or comments. I'm so impressed. The whole reason I was in your notebook, one more thing, is that I was reading through your narrative on demands. So groups A, B, and C, I have looked at every single one of your narrative on demands, and I filled out the same form that you did when I asked you to do the self-assessment a couple weeks ago. And then we're going to take that data and we're kind of going to compare them side by side. And going to be like, oh, Miss Lincecum thinks I'm here. I think I'm here in terms of my writing. So I really appreciate your time. I hope you have a lovely Monday. It's getting cold. It's getting to be October. And I will talk to you soon. Have a good day. Thanks for listening.